Good morning, artists. Today we're going to finish your printmaking project that we started last week. If you remember, last week we worked together and we created a robot drawing by just using basic shapes and designs. Some of the shapes we used were rectangles, triangles, circles, and you all got to create your own unique drawings. Today we're going to show you the finishing steps of printmaking. We talked a little bit about printmaking last week, but today what we're going to use is your robot drawing. Everyone's going to have a piece of aluminum foil, markers, and water for spraying. The first step when we get started with this, you're going to take your robot drawing and lay it face down. You're going to take your Sharpie and you're just going to mark the corner edge. So I'm pressing down on my paper and I'm marking the corners diagonally. So you need to do one at the top and then one at the bottom. This is just going to help when we do our printmaking for you to line up your paper. After you've marked where your paper is going to go, you're going to open up your markers. For this step, you get to pick if you want a color wheel design of the colors of the rainbow, if you want to do a pattern, or maybe you want to do warm colors or just cool colors. That is your choice for this design. I think I'm going to do a pattern. I noticed in this bin, I have a whole lot of cool colors with the blues, the purples, and greens. So I'm going to take what markers I want. And I'm going to start designing sort of the pattern I want. I think for my design for this, I'm going to do a radial pattern. Radial means that it just goes around. So if you've ever seen real tie-dye, like on a t-shirt, or we've done those tie-dyed squares with the oil pastels, I'm just going to keep going around in a circle. You don't have to do it this way if you don't want to. If you just want to do random marks of color on your aluminum foil, you can. But I'm just going to go around and fill up that whole piece. You want to try to make your colors darker if you can, because the darker your colors are, the better they are going to show up. So you can kind of see here, I have my 2 marks for my paper, and I've started that radial design just going around with it. If you want bigger colors, bigger swatches, then you need to make your lines or your radial design have thicker marks on it. It's important not to touch your marker design whenever you're coloring on this, because it might get on your fingers or clothes. So be careful whenever you're doing this, even if you need to turn your aluminum foil, like sometimes we turn our papers, that would be a good idea. If you do touch your markers on the aluminum foil, since we are doing printmaking, and aluminum foil is different than paper, it would probably transfer on your hand. I'm going to keep going around. Now you might ask Ms. Breeding, well, why did we put those lines for our paper? Those are kind of a guideline, because when you lay your paper down to transfer it to get a print for printmaking, you can only do it once. So if you lay it down and you kind of mess it up, that's okay. But once you lay it down, it's stuck. You can't lift it. Now, I'm noticing on my design, I'm starting to get outside of that guideline for my paper. So I'm going to keep going with what I have. But I'm going to try to keep it inside those guides. So if it goes outside of there, I won't color it. I'll just try to keep it where I know my paper's gonna be around those corners. Because if it's not where your paper's gonna be, then it's not gonna show up. I'm doing my cool colors, but I'm not really doing it in a pattern. If you wanted to do it in a pattern, maybe you wanted to do green, yellow, orange, you could. Go all the way around. Now, after you've filled up your whole aluminum foil, based on your guidelines, my guidelines down here and up here, I might need to add a little bit more in this corner here. You're gonna grab your spray bottle, and what we're gonna do is you're gonna lightly mist your aluminum foil. And if you can see on my screen, your colors might already start to bleed or blend together, which sounds really dramatic, but it means that colors are just kind of mixing together. Now, here's the next step. After you sprayed your design, you have the colors that you want, you're gonna line up and put your bottom corner right on that guideline. I'm going to gently put my design down. Once you get it down, you can't be moving it around because all your colors would mix together. So I'm just gonna lightly rub my print around, pressing down on my whole paper to get a really good print for my print making. After I've rubbed all over, I'm gonna grab the top corner, peel it back, and when you do, you should have a type of printmaking design. There might be some spots, like on mine, where there is still white on your paper. That's okay, because it may have just been where you didn't have enough water or you didn't have enough color for your markers. But sometimes that white effect can really show your design even better. So if that happens to you like it did me, it's not a big deal. It will show up just fine that way. So when we get done today, you will have your own robot printmaking design.